Hello, my name is Derek Cook, and I'm here to present a branding and ID package for Maritime soap. Maritime has a hard-working product with the fresh scent of the ocean with no frills that really works, targeted toward males 18 to 25 of the blue-collar persuasion, who really need a soap that gets them clean that's not overly perfumed. Maritime would like to use a Pantone color, which is green 328C. I used that Pantone color and some of provided keywords for Maritime to create a word art using powerful, masculine, old-fashioned, tough, ocean, fresh, ships, strong, clean, clear. Maritime's audience includes Alan, who is a 23-year-old pharmacy tech who doesn't really have a physically demanding job, but he does wash his hands quite often, and he needs a soap that doesn't dry his hands out. Nicholas is a logistics worker at a distribution center, and he's also a college student, so he's hardworking and he's also very sociable, so he needs a soap that cuts the sweat and doesn't push people away. Brad is a family-orientated person who really worries about the dirt and grime and cleanup he leaves in the tub for his wife after a long, hard day of work. John, who's a carpenter, but also a facial hair aficionado. He really needs to cut the dirt and grime that he picks up on his hands throughout the day, but also needs a soap soft enough for his face. Looking for inspiration, I turned toward artwork from World War II, including nose art and recruitment posters. I also took some inspiration from Victorian pugilist stance with the boxer and some Art Deco, as well as other nautical themed items such as compasses, rigging, and ship's wheels. The competitors would be Lava, Dove Men Care, Dr. Squatch, Duke Cannon, Old Spice, and Irish Spring. When looking at display fonts, I looked at Henrietta because it had a very old-fashioned style to it. It's also very thick and bold, which is very manly. I also looked at Renata, which isn't as thick and bold, but does have that old-fashioned script style, and which is where I found a nice combination between the two with the Lust script. Taking more from the Art Deco, there was the Aesir, Trojan, and Capital fonts. As corresponding fonts with the info level, I looked at Futura, Kegger, and Atlas. Futura really blends well with the Art Deco, and Kegger is a very bold, strong font. Atlas is a nice serif font that happens to find a nice in-between. While creating some of the icon sketches, I wanted to keep the keywords in mind, focusing on strong with the arms and anchors, and the ocean and other nautical themes. I started to pull out the idea of the sailor, and I really enjoyed working on number 6, 7, 8, and 9. Moving forward on the logo process with number 6, I tried to focus more into the Art Deco style of old-fashioned, but I also played around with some other fonts and shaping and styling of the overall framing of the logo. As for the turtle logo, I took a lot of inspiration from the World War II nose art, as well as some of the fonts in correlation with that. I used the thick, bold Kegger, which almost resonates a school mascot kind of feel. The final logo process, I went a little bit more simplistic, and this feels more elegant. This feels almost as if you would see it somewhere around sailboats with people who have yachts and things of that nature. I did some logo tests to see how the logos would work with stationery, using each of the logos to see exactly how they would work, which The final test, which is closer to the logo that I ended up using overall. With the final logo in black and white, it is the central figure. The silhouette pulls a lot from Art Deco, but the combination with the Lust script gives it that old-fashioned feel. Moving on to color exploration, I looked at the color relationships with the Pantone green that was provided to find something that would work well with inside the palette. With the final color logo, I decided on a pentagonal color palette using blue for the silhouette, which harkens to that cleanliness, that ocean blue, that clean water, and the red and white stripes, which are the sunbeams behind the sailor, are reminiscent of the barber pole, as well as the old-fashioned ship wheel. I ended up using Pantone's number 328C, which is the green, 660C, a more light blue, 732C, a kind of chocolatey brown, 7766C, a more golden yellow, and 483C, a nice vibrant red. I wanted to keep the old-fashioned theme running through the stationery. Within the business card design, I used a weathered paper texture to give the overall look a little more old feel. I also textured the ship's wheel with a wood grain. I wanted to keep the front and back juxtaposed and also showcasing that original Pantone color. I kept that same motif in the business letter, using the same texture technique as well in the envelopes, using the back flap, bringing more of that red and white stripe out to invoke that barber pole soap kind of old-fashioned ideas. And then I placed that into the Photoshop mock-up to get a good feel of what it would actually look like. In the first package design, you can see that it seems to be a little bit more childish. It's a little bit more kid and a little bit more fun, which is not specifically the target audience, though I did work with the ideas of bringing that old-fashioned texture into this one as well and playing with the whites being very clean. The next one I decided to use black, which to me has an air of elegance to it, in combination with the green and golds, which invoke money. So money, elegance, power, keeping those keywords in mind. For the last package rough, I decided to focus on red as a main color and playing with the fonts on the sides, having them fade away and being at an angle, giving it a little bit more playful fun. But overall, I think it feels a little too firehouse old-fashioned versus maritime old-fashioned. So with the final mock-up, I did decide to go with the black and chose some elements that I used in some of the other package roughs that I thought worked well overall. That it kept the product in the blue-collar field, yet also felt powerful and invoked this feeling of elegance, but also hard-working and keeping in the old-fashioned feel. I do hope my presentation was informative, and I thank you for your time.